Hello, my name is Alex and I am the host of Hiw Bizarre podcast, and this is episode 18 of the series. Hopefully you'll like it and the show will make some traction in the time ahead. So, what is this podcast about? It's about storytelling, and especially about stories that are obscure, unknown to the wider public, strange and sometimes inexplicable, content that somehow never got the attention it deserved, stories that are forgotten in the mists of time regardless if they happened yesterday or some centuries ago. So if you are attracted to bizarre, shocking or just plainly weird stuff, I think you'll find this podcast very informative and perhaps even entertaining. This podcast is for mature audiences and listener discretion is advised. All that being said, now let us dive into the 18th episode of Hiw Bizarre podcast. This episode is called 727 to the End, the Luanda Airport Mystery. Is it possible for a person not to be discovered when he is wanted by the CIA, FBI, Homeland Security and the Central Command of the U.S. Armed Forces, after several years of detailed search, by engaging all available means available to the most massive and technically equipped military and intelligence machinery? The answer is a big yes. And in this short story we'll find out how and why. And is it possible for a person to hide, not alone, but in the company of a Boeing 727 passenger plane in all its size and glory, in case the above-mentioned organizations search for him? Quite possible. This feat was done by a certain Ben Padilla, an American pilot, together with the Congolese mechanic aptly named John Mutantu. The plane in question was a Boeing 727 that had a days as a passenger airline behind it. After a long service in American Airways Company, being stripped of all but a few seats, it was converted to a cargo carrier. In this case, the cargo was diesel fuel, 5,000 gallons or 19,000 liters of it. And the destination? Numerous diamond mines scattered along West Africa, from Angola to Congo-Kinshasa. These operations were bread and butter to the local organized crime, warlords and all sorts of corrupt officials. Dirt runways in the wilderness were used for air supply of materials needed for the operation. In May 2003, from the runway at Luanda International Airport in Angola, the two characters boarded a veteran Boeing 727 with no markings on it, turned off all signal lights and transponders, and despite shocked flight controllers who did not give them permission for a takeoff, they took off in spite. As it was, from the moment of takeoff until today, their fate and that of the plane remain unknown. Ben Padilla was a flight engineer and a pilot, but he never trained on jet airliners, let alone getting mulch engine license and type approval for a Boeing 727. How he flew the aircraft knowing that he probably never before entered a 727 cockpit is another mystery. That being said, it was speculated that there were more than two persons aboard the plane, secretive pilot who took the plane off the ground and into the great unknown. At the height of the 9/11 panic, U.S. authorities spared no effort to track down the plane and the thieves. All in vain as it would seem. After 2.5 years of extensive searching in several possible scenarios that turned out to be inaccurate, they gave up the search. Given today's technology, it is strange how such a plane can disappear without a trace behind it. No one saw or reported a crash or landing anywhere, nor did the plane fly over any territory with basic radar coverage. The aircraft itself being in good condition and its engines being sought after in the African market, it is believed that Ben and John made a lot of money cannibalizing the plane for spare parts after landing on some dirt makeshift runway in Congo-Kinshasa. As it was known that the plane had enough fuel to easily reach that destination, that theory is not without merit. Even satellite imagery revealed nothing, no debris anywhere. No oil slicks in the Atlantic, nothing at all. It is strange how this case flew under the radar, pardon the pun, of the world media and landed into obscurity immediately after. I mean, how the hell was that even possible? 11 years after, there was the case of the missing Malaysian airliner that vanished from this world. That case was widely publicized, as it should have been, and there is abundance of theories about it. Still, the fact that even in this day and age such feats are still a possibility is quite something. All that is left are speculations, rumors, theories and assumptions, from insurance fraud, secret sale of the plane, up to crashing into a parallel dimension and the obligatory abduction by aliens. But even if it was insurance scam or secret sale, someday, somewhere, a trace would come to light, or anything connected with the plane and supposed two occupants at all. To date, there has been absolutely nothing. In 2010, Ben's sister approached the FBI and demanded new investigation concerning the fate of her brother, but she was refused. The rationale for refusing to reopen the case was that no new leads were forthcoming in the 7 years that passed since the bizarre incident. And so, this mystery remains unresolved 19 years on. I hope you all liked episode 18 of this podcast. Thank you so kindly for listening, and I will be back next time for episode 19 of the Hiw Bizarre podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please consider liking, sharing, and above all, subscribe to this channel, dear listener. Because, why not? Join me next time for another bizarre adventure through space and time. Cheerio.